Hello Turtles, welcome to Sarah Cat, Monkey Bird, and Indie Dog's game development arena, where they order me, Tim Bodette, around to do their biddings. This week we worked on the audio system and tried to wrap that up in TurtleBrains so that we have at least one component of TurtleBrains all complete. There were a lot of features done. Indy is ready for bed, as you might be able to tell. There are a lot of features done that allowed me to wrap this up. Starting with the streaming audio. This was actually a little bit more difficult than I was expecting. Andy wants to go to bed. So yeah, he's gonna go to bed. The streaming is decompressing OGG data from disk at runtime to lower the memory, and my idea here was it should be easy to set to the loop points beginning and end, because if you're streaming and you go to the end of the file, you just go to the beginning, and all I need to do is check where the file is and change those loop points. And I really wanted to be able to supply custom samples and loop between those 2 points. So my idea was to do this with streaming audio. Implementing the streaming audio was easy. Getting it to loop through the file, also easy. Getting it to loop through those loop points was not nearly as easy as I was expecting. In fact, it still isn't perfect right now. I've added threading support to TurtleBrains to alleviate most of the issues. It should work in general. There are a couple edge cases that it could still occur. I'm also allowing you to tag events as music or effect, which allows set the global music volume or set the global effect volume. Basically separate those. These are modifiers that get applied to the event's volume, and that way you can still control the event volume, but in-game controls could still control music and sound effects, which is pretty common in most games. The ability to pause and resume all music, and if you pause all music then play an effect, that effect will still play, so that you could add a jingle for pausing or such if you wish, but all other effects and music will pause in its tracks right where it was and resume right where it left off when you call resume. I've also improved the initialization code. There was a hack that loaded the TurtleBrains jingle that has moved into a nice proper place that it should have been all along. I've also added the ability to unload event tables. Previously, if you loaded an event table, it never got unloaded, and this has always been fine for Ludum Dare games or small game jam games where you can load everything up and call it good. For a real game that's actually bigger in size, you may need to load and unload these tables for each level, because they might not be able to fit all in memory. So now I've actually got a way to unload the event tables, and it will unload all the audio data that is no longer referenced when that happens. Another improvement was removing raw pointers and instead using C++11 smart pointers, both unique and shared pointers, in the correct places where needed. Modifications were made to the event table format, which improve readability, or I guess clarity, of the format. So instead of specifying a file and the file name, you now call it source. And the reason I'm using source is because a source can be multiple files. And then within the files, you could have your more event information. So that's all made a little bit more clear. And I've made that as clear as I can in the reference level documentation, where every function and parameter into the function is documented to the best of my ability. I've also done high-level documentation showing the whole overview of how the audio tables work and how to use a controller to play looping sounds, as well as even programmatically using play sound. So that wraps up the TurtleBrains audio system. It was a pretty good push. I think I can call that practically feature complete. There's probably some bugs that I still need to work out, like that streaming audio with loop points. There's definitely some edge cases in there, but it's going to work for now, and I can't think of any feature that I really want to add immediately. I can think of all kinds of features that could be added, but none that I need right now. And for the most part, I develop things in TurtleBrains when I absolutely need something right now. I did go a couple steps ahead of myself on this audio system, but that's because I really think they could be useful in future Ludum Dare events or other game jams like Alaka Jam coming up in February. So guys, thanks for watching. Give me a thumbs up if you enjoyed the video. Subscribe if you want future updates. I do a devlog every Monday when I can. And as always, until later, have a good one.